All right, folks, a new study, really a big-time study, is shining more light on the concept of universal basic income. In fact, what it really does is highlight the idea that it's just not a smart one. Okay, let's bring in now Walser Wealth Management President Rebecca Walser, along with the Federalist Elections correspondent Brianna Lyman. All right, ladies, thoughts on universal basic income. First of all, I just always set this up because Sam Altman, who I don't know where he leans politically, but he's a Silicon Valley guy. 2016, he says, you know what? There's a bunch of these out. I'm going to put the biggest one out there, put his own money up. You have two groups, one getting $1,000, another getting $50, right? Guess what group spent the most money, didn't go to work? You know, it's like the more they gave them, the less they did. But you're not surprised by it. Here's the thing, though. Today, the liberal media saying, well, there still needs to be more proof it doesn't work.
Did you ever hear that childhood story about the red hen who said, who wants to go and plant the barley, harvest the barley, stone the barley, make the barley? Who wants to help me make the bread? And no one wanted to help. But then when it was time to eat the bread, everyone wanted the bread.
Right.
This is human nature. If you give somebody a piece of bread, they won't go out and actually work for it, Charles. So it diminishes not only your self-worth, but it absolutely says, I don't have to work, I don't have to do, and so people do less.
I was on a Big Money show, Brianna, and a guest said something really intriguing about this. The more you keep people on the bench, giving them money, you know, and by the way, that they're going to spend and put into the economy anyway, the less competition you have for yourself. That this is the way the elites keep poor people poor.
Well, yeah, and you know, we already know how. We didn't need a survey, right? You go back to the pandemic. They expanded all these unemployment benefits. And what happened? You had states struggling to fill employment roles because employers were essentially competing with the government. People didn't want to go back to work because you made more money sitting on your couch than you did, you know, working a minimum wage job. And so, like you said, it de-incentivizes, especially people of my age, to go get a job.
Yeah.
So out today at 10 o'clock, we had consumer sentiment. It keeps free-falling, but the real story was the details of it, right? Two things stood out for me. One, expectations, what consumers think 6 months from now. Republicans surged from 53 to 59. Democrats plunged from 93 to 82. Brianna, what does that tell you? The Democrats think Trump is going to be in office, and Republicans think Trump is going to be in office.
Look, consumer sentiment is such a... When Donald Trump won election, consumer sentiment surged. People felt confident in the economy. And we're seeing you have incomes are down. You have savings are down. There is nothing beneficial about this economy except for the fact that it is politically advantageous for Donald Trump because he has a record to run on with consumer sentiment.
It has been advantageous for someone else, and that's rich people, right?
Yeah.
The wealthy have gotten a lot wealthier. And I've got to ask you, because you got 73 degrees, right? You've got more advanced degrees than anybody I know. In this same report, it says best candidate for the economy. Advanced degrees, 47% said Biden, only 32% said Trump. Also income, the top 10%, 47% said Biden, only 33% said Trump. So the rich people love what Biden is doing, even though his rhetoric is also always anti-rich.
Yeah, the Democratic Party is now the party of the elite. This is beyond a question. And your point of UBI, Charles, is a mechanism for them to keep their bench very deep and very beholden to, well, we need our checks every year, so we're going to keep voting for this way. I think a lot of the Democratic groups have sort of realized this game and are awakening to it. They started to wake up a little bit in 2020, but now we're starting to see a massive shift of demographics to the Republican Party away from the Dems because they are the party of the elite.
Yeah, it really is absolutely amazing to watch this happen in real life. Okay, I've done a lot of shows, Brianna, and you may have to forgive me where I kind of diss your generation.
No offense taken. I don't like them either.
So 25 to 35-year-olds living with their parents is now at 17%. The last time it was this high was in 1940. Although there's another story out now that half the states have at least one city where the starter home is $1 million. So maybe I've been a little bit too hard.
Charles,
and these aren't nice houses.
Look, this is full disclosure. I just moved back in with my parents recently because it is too
hold
expensive.
on 1 second. So 17.5%. Let me fix the
Charles,
number.
wait, it gets worse. The problem is it's not just starter homes. It is rent prices. I am a 26-year-old, and rent prices, especially in Manhattan, it is astronomically high for someone who's just trying to, you know, get by.
Rebecca, big news out of California.
Oh, yeah.
The voters there voted for a thing called Proposition 22 that would allow gig workers to be gig workers. The legislature said, no, you know what, you're not a gig worker. And the court said, no, they are gig workers. But I love this story, and I know you're a free market person. And this, what do you think?
I think, as a lawyer, this is a win for the economy, and it's a win. People should be able to dictate the terms upon which they accept employment. I'm not saying that there doesn't need to be safety protocols and some kind of governmental making sure that they're not being abused. But let's be honest, this was a result of AB 5. This was the 10 million Californians said, yes, we want Prop 22. We want people to be able to be just an IC and not have benefits and have those jobs. And thank God this was a win for capitalism.
It reminds me of the Supreme Court decisions, too, like these legislation, these bureaucracies. You can't be judge, jury, and executioner.
Exactly.
People have a voice. They voted on this. And
the legislature was trying to say, oh, we don't accept your referendum of the people.